Hey race fans, it's race day, top 5 with me, Frank 5. 4th of July, it's all about the fireworks, the bangs, the pows, and all the spectacular, frantic incidents and finishes that we see at the World Center of Racing on this 4th of July weekend. And we saw a lot of that, and we saw a lot of rain, and we saw something that has been done in a long time. 2 back-to-back first-time winners in the sport. Ain't that a 4th of July to remember? Number 1, Justin Haley. Wait. Who? Who is Justin Haley? Where have I heard this name before? Who is this guy? Who do you know? Justin Haley, if you maybe have been watching the lower series over the couple of years, Justin Haley drove for GMS Racing in 2017 and 2018 in the Truck Series, winning 3 races in 2018 and locking himself in the playoffs and setting himself to Homestead to compete for the championship, which he didn't win, but he was still fairly close. And if you remember 2018, a year ago, he was in an Xfinity car for GMS Racing, and it looked like he made the winning move against Kyle Larson and Elliott Sadler, going from the top to the bottom, and the trial will come into the checkered flag to score his first career Xfinity Series win. That proved to be a disappointment. As he's judged, he went below the double yellow line with his 2 tires. It's 2 tires or 4 tires that meet. If you advance your position with 2 tires or 4 tires below the double yellow line, you will be penalized. He was robbed of the win and went from first to last car in the lead lap and lost the win, ultimately. This season, he's been driving for Colleague Racing in the Xfinity Series, an RCR affiliate team, and has been fairly fun to watch on the races, as well as being very competitive. And this Friday night, he finished second in the race to his teammate Ross Chastain in what was a pretty interesting race. Today, he pulled off perhaps maybe the upset of the season as a driver that's not even competing for points, with winning with one of the most underfunded teams that just got started during the offseason, Spire Motorsports, a team that acquired the charter from Furniture Row Racing at the end of last season after they shut down, to win the Coke Zero Sugar 400 at Daytona International Speedway over William Byron, Jimmy Johnson, Ty Dillon, career best 4th place, and Ryan Newman. I mean, Justin Haley did almost everything right. He stayed out of trouble. He dodged what I'm going to tell you about in just a couple of minutes, and basically kept the car clean. And somebody in front of him, which I'll also bring up, made a pretty bonehead move by coming to pit road on what was supposed to be the one to go. And then Mother Nature came with her wrath of rain and thunder and lightning. And Justin Haley played the waiting game until NASCAR decided track's too wet, we're going to call it. And he ends up winning the race. What a day for Justin Haley and this team, Spire Motorsports, that's competing for points as far as owner's title, but I don't know if they're going to make the top 30 in order to be eligible for the owner's championship. They're 82 points back, and plus they pretty much run to the back every single race. But this time with the ECR motors from Richard Childress Racing, they had a very competitive race car and basically stayed up in the lead pack, lost a lap earlier, got it back from a caution, and pulled through. And just what a big day for Justin Haley. And hopefully this raised some teams' eyebrows thinking, hey, this kid's going to be something down the road. He could have himself probably not a full-time ride in the Cup Series next year, but possibly the following year with upcoming retirements from major drivers of the sport. Number 2, Kurt Busch looked to be in position to get his 2nd win at Daytona and make up for the one that got away in 2014 4th of July race. Well, his crew chief threw away the race for him. Kurt Busch, early in the race, actually hit the wall in the middle of turns 1 and 2, spun in 3 and 4, clipped the rear of Brendan Gaughan's 62 South Point Chevy, and taped it all back up and made it all the way back to the top 10, and dodged what I'm going to swear, going to talk about in just a moment, looked to make the winning move by passing everybody that was involved in the, what I'm about to tell you, the big crash, and it looked like he was going to be in position to win. Him and McCall decided, let's stay out until we hit 1 to go, because we felt like we were going to get the race restarted and get a couple more laps in before the rains came. Well, NASCAR saw a lightning strike in the distance in 3 and 4, and they decided to bring the cars down pit road, and Kurt Busch was not happy, saying it's just like 2014 where NASCAR robbed me of the win. So Kurt Busch ultimately finished in the 10th position, still so close to getting that first win of the season. It's going to happen. It almost happened today. Unfortunately, his crew chief just made a bonehead mistake. I mean, and there's nothing you can do about that sometimes. Mother Nature, plays the games with these guys when it comes to racing. You can't control it at all. Number 3, one of the big stories other than Kurt Busch's crew chief making a bonehead move and Justin Haley's first career win, the big one. Every time we come to these super speedways, we can't call them restrictor plates anymore because we don't use them, you always have the opportunity to see a big crash when somebody makes a mistake. And it happened late in the race, setting up for what turned out to be the last caution of the race before the rains came and Justin Haley was called the winner. Austin Dillon leading the race, tried to pull a block on Clint Bowyer going to turns 1 and 2, and Bowyer already had his fender there, and Austin Dillon didn't have enough to block him. He went around collecting multiple cars, multiple guys that are running up towards the front, guys that are trying to win to get themselves in the playoffs, guys that really can't point to win anymore because they lost a lot of points because they have been running up front most of the season. A lot of guys got taken out today. I mean, it's a product of super speedway racing. Almost jinxed myself there. It's a product of super speedway racing. But, I mean, I blame Austin Dillon for this. I mean, he blocked it. I mean, there really wasn't any room. The spotter should see that there wasn't any room there, but it's tough to tell, especially with these speeds, with this package and everything. So, this happens, and you're going to see it again. This is not the last time you're seeing it this year. I guarantee we'll see it at the fall race at Talladega in the playoffs. Number 4, Brad Keselowski. He made some pretty big headlines even before the race got even started. In final practice on Thursday on 4th of July, he was basically had a huge run down the backstretch on the 24 William Byron and actually bumped him, sending Byron around, but Byron saved the car. As both drivers explained their opinion on what happened, Byron said, I know the two didn't mean to do it, but I was trying to block. Keselowski said, I wasn't intentional, but I'm trying to send a message. I'm not lifting. I mean, basically the quote of the weekend, I'm not lifting on these super speedways. And the reason he's saying that is because he's been crashed out of 4 out of the last 6 races, or 4 out of the last 5 races. I think he got his statistics messed up. I'm not entirely sure. I probably have to go back to, social media and all those NASCAR statistics that you find on the internet. But Brad Keselowski was sick and tired of basically just, being crashed out in these super speedway races. And he said, I'm not lifting anymore. And he basically sent the message and did a good job of sending it, because in the race earlier today, he almost sent Kevin Harvick around for a spin, and Dale Earnhardt Jr., who's calling the race, got excited saying, he just almost spun him around, and he's basically saying, that's what he said of the week, I'm not lifting. And, he shouldn't. You got to go for everything you can to these super speedways. But Brad Keselowski paid the price when he got shuffled to the top late in the race and got bumped by one of the guys he's been working with all day, Kevin Harvick, and got out to the wall and ultimately ended his day. Another super speedway DNF for the 2 car. I don't know what he's going to do to have to be up front with these races. I mean, he's got fast cars. It just always seems to run into something that's not even his fault, or like somebody else causes it, and he's just a victim of it. It's just stuff like this happens, though. And number 5, the manufacturers coming into this race after what we saw at Talladega and Daytona, and obviously in years past. Manufacturers working together. We've seen it with the Fords. We saw it with the Toyotas in the 2016 Daytona 500. The Fords basically took advantage of that. And then at Talladega this year, the Chevy said, we need to work together to take down the Fords and the Toyotas. Well, Toyotas are outmatched. There were 6 of them. Fords and Chevys basically fill out half the field. So it was basically of a decision of which manufacturer was the best. I'd say they were all fairly equal today. I mean, Fords were really good, especially when they're trying to bring the top side, when all the Chevys basically stayed at the bottom the entire race, not lifting off and not getting out of line unless people shuffled them out. But overall, I mean, it was a good competitive race as far as the manufacturers say. And overall, the racing today with this tempered spacer package, ever since we eliminated restrictor plates after the 2019 500 earlier this year, which was still a very good race, the tempered spacer package has made this super speedway racing very fun to watch. I mean, I know we really wish we would have gotten the race restarted, but you know what, when Mother Nature hits, especially in Florida in the summer, there's nothing you can do about it. But a very competitive race, and what is, as of right now, the last 4th of July race at Daytona, because next year we're switching to Indianapolis. I'll talk about that stuff as the year goes on. I'll talk about it. Not a fan of it, honestly. But overall, as of right now, if this is the final 4th of July Daytona race, with the exception of Mother Nature canceling it a little bit earlier, what a race. Really fun to watch. Finally, to recap, Chase Elliott, very fast, up front, led some laps, earned some really crucial stage points, to help us, even though we already locked in the playoffs with our win from Talladega, we want to build up more points. We were looking really good to at least get our first top 5 or top 10 Daytona, but we were involved in the big crash with Austin Dillon and Clint Bowyer. I mean, we had a fast car. It's nothing you can do about it, these super speedways, so just push on, and hopefully we don't crash at Talladega when it comes to playoff time. Hopefully we're in the round of 12 at that time, but let us press on. So that is it for the 4th of July spectacular at Daytona. Lots of rain, lots of fireworks on and off the track. Big wins from Ross Chastain and Friday night's Xfinity race. Justin Haley's surprise win today. And we're off to the Bluegrass State in Kentucky next weekend, where we'll see how this aero package that's been making the mile and have so much fun to watch this season. We'll see how it does on a track that is pretty treacherous, especially turn 3. Watch out for turn 3, everybody! And it's going to be a pretty interesting race. Can Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski, and Joey Logano have been so dominant at Kentucky over the years continue the dominance? Will Martin Truex Jr. win another one at Kentucky? Will Kevin Harvick find a way to get to victory circle? The guy still hasn't won a race yet this season. Can Jimmy Johnson break through? I mean, he's so close today. Third place, best finish of the season. What's going to happen when we go to the Bluegrass State? And what's going to happen when the drivers go straight into turn 3, literally on their toes? We'll find out. So subscribe, like. Congrats, Justin Haley. We hope to see you in the Cup Series again later in the season and hopefully full-time soon. You are going to be a superstar, I believe. Until then, I hope you had a wonderful 4th of July, everybody. Salute our troops, and see you later.